What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is Presso here again, and welcome to the part 2 of the NodeVideo Ultimate Beginner's Guide. And today we're going to be diving into the asset store of NodeVideo. We're going to dive into everything that the asset store does, and I want this video not to be too long. I'm trying to make this entire playlist just about 30 minutes maximum. So if we have to, we might divide this up into different segments. Like today, I'll do half of the asset store from this lighting panel to maybe the nature panel. And then the next time, I'll do the RGB panel to the ray tracing panel, maybe. But without further ado, let's just start right off with the glow effect. This is very straightforward and simple. The glow effect adds a glow to your video. You have several options here to tweak. You can increase the intensity, the threshold, to make it shine differently. Also, I should mention that this effect can stack, meaning if you add another glow, it's going to increase the glow. So that's something that's worth noting. You can also change the color if you'd like. And just note, when you use the glow and there is a layer underneath it, it will make everything black, so you have to add a blending effect and set it to screen. But we don't need to do any of that right now since my video has an alpha channel. So next we're gonna add the glow scan. The glow scan works like the glow, except it finds the brighter parts of your video and shines there. Like you can see over here, there's this tiny part on my cheek, and that part is shining. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff you can tweak with this. We have the threshold, which is cool, and the radius. We can play with the radius of how well it shines. And there's just a bunch of effects we can play with. We can also set the intensity. We can play around with that and change the blend mode from overlay, from solid color to overlay, any one you'd like, any one that works best for you. So we can also change the glow color, which is cool. And if you turn on preserve alpha, it's going to only glow really close to your character or really close to your alpha layer, as long as your layer has an alpha channel, which mine does, because as you can see, it's a chroma key. It's a green screen video. Anywho, next we have the flare. This flare is very straightforward and adds many flares around your character. It's a very trippy effect you can use to get cool looking effects pretty quickly. Different people have different uses for this stuff, but I barely use it personally. But anywho, there's a lot of settings you can play around with to get different effects. You can increase the number of streaks. You can change the blend mode to whatever you want. Pretty cool. The next effect we have is the bling effect. This bling effect works like the glow scan. It also finds the highest parts of your screen, of your video, and glows those up. You can increase the amount, you can change the type. Yeah, basically this can be used for different kinds of shine effects in videos. Like, I've seen this before on TikTok videos mostly. You can use it for whatever you want, so it's there. Yeah, cool. Next we have the raise effect, which adds this very bright shine to your video. You can increase the amount You can increase the threshold. You can play around with the dispersion amount. You can increase brightness and so many different things to make this look anyhow you like it to look. Just like the glow, this one stacks as well. So you see, you can just add it on top and it will create more. And that's one of the things I love about NodeVideo, because it's just very flexible. Then we also have the light rays, which is like a lighter version of the rays effect, as you can see. It has less controls, but also has different uses, so you can use it for whatever you want. I barely use this, but you can use it for whatever you want at all. Okay, then the next effect we have is the light sweep effect. I'm really sorry, I'm just trying to give you guys a quick refresher or a quick course, beginner course to these things. You really have to do them by yourself for you to really understand. But this is the light sweep effect, and you can use it for a bunch of stuff. You can use it to add light to your scene, or fake light, anywho. When you take down the thickness like this, you can get some very cool looking lighting. See, it's pretty cool. You can play around with the range. Pretty cool stuff you can do here. Then the next effect we have is the light trail. Basically, the light trail allows you to add a light trail to your point. Maybe you make a line around your character. I'm going to be very rough here because of I'm not trying to actually do all this. So you can just do the evolution, it goes around, you understand? It's pretty cool. Pretty cool effect. You can use it for whatever you'd like. Then you also have, we're done. Well, that was quick. So now we're moving on to the blur panel. And in the blur panel we have this lens blur fast. You can use the lens blur to blur out your video to make something look like it's in focus or not in focus. You can increase the sampling to this, which will break your video up, which can be cool if you like. I doubt. Anywho, you also have different blur types, and you can just play around with these to find out what you can do with each. Okay, so next we have the lens blur slow, which is more advanced than the last one, and I prefer to use this if I'm doing something like a movie, because this will help me keep one character in focus and the other out of focus, this one is pretty cool. Yeah, and it has a lot of stuff you can play around with it, and yeah. Anywho, next we have the Gaussian blur. Gaussian blur is pretty straightforward. It adds a blur. You can increase the amount of blur you're adding in, and this is just the most straightforward as it can get. Then the next we have the cross blur, which blurs your video in a cross-like manner. So you can do it on the X, the Y. Let's do this. You can blur it in any axis you'd like. So yeah, it's pretty cool. Then next we also have the directional blur, which can blur your video in two directions, that is the x-axis and the y-axis. So you can just use this to get whatever kind of effect you like. Maybe I can't really tell you, because of NodeVideo is really about powering your creativity, so I can't tell you what to do, what not to do, because anything's allowed. But this reminds me of something like Goku, the way he just teleports. Yeah. Anywho, The next effect we have here is the ray blur, which, just like the rays effect, sends out light rays of your video, but this time it's a blur of your video rather than a light rays. Okay, as you can see, the effect looks pretty cool. And this is the spin blur, which blurs your video in a spin manner. Pretty cool. And that's it for the blur panel of the asset store. The next panel we're going over to is the distort panel, and this has a lot, so I'm trying to rush through it pretty quickly. We have the lens distortion, which does this. As you can see, there are a lot of settings you can play with. I can't even begin to tell you everything that this effect can do. It is super useful. Then we also have the mirror. This one is pretty straightforward because everybody knows what the mirror does. As you can see, it's pretty cool. Look, I have 4 eyes and 2 noses and 2 faces. Anywho, we also have the skew effect, which can skew your video on the 2 axes like this. You can use it to line up your video with something anyhow you like. So yeah, pretty cool. Then we also have the perspective transform, which is the more simplified version of that skew, because now you can skew your video using these points to control, and they are much easier. And yeah, pretty cool. Then we also have the twirl effect, and this twirl effect, as you can see, just twirls your video, and you can move it. You can set the twirl angle. Pretty cool. Anywho, next we have the twist effect, which can twist your video. Basically, it's like a manual turbulent displacement. You can use it to twist your video in anyhow you like. Check it out. See, it's just like the turbulent displacement, but more controlled. Pretty cool. Then we also have the polar coordinates, which kind of looks like a UV unwrapping of my video, if I'm gonna be 100% honest. So yeah, I've never found out what this actually does, but I don't know. It seems kind of cool. I've never used it, but it's there. Then we also have the squeeze effect, which can squeeze your video on the X and the Y axis. It's like you're pinching your video, like this squeeze, like this squeeze, like this. You see, it's pretty cool. Makes me look like gum. Then we have the turbulent distortion, which, oh god damn, distorts your video in a very nice or very wrong way. You can also change the type. Maybe you want it vertical, maybe you want it horizontal, and this looks more like that squeeze effect we're talking about. But I'm not going to dwell. You can play around with this to find out exactly what you can use it for. As I've said before, playing around with it is very important. And this is stretch segment, possibly one of my most favorite effects because of it allows you to do this. That bit there. As you can see, it allows you to stretch any part of your video. Now I have a longer neck. And you can also, I think, change the angle of the, yeah, just like I have a nose and I'm let's change this to -90, huh? aha, as you can see, it's pretty cool effect. Next we have the pinch and bulge. Pinch and bulge basically allows you to bulge one part of your Oh my god, I think I've recreated those filters from Snapchat. Look at this. And then you can reduce the radius. Okay, I think. How do you turn this into a ball? Yeah, it looks pretty cool. If you invert the value, it pinches. And as you can see, you can get some very cursed details with this. Stuff like this. I'm pretty sure all of you have seen this before on TikTok or whatever. But anywho, the next we have is the nature panel. And the nature panel is full of stuff that are found in nature, apparently, because we have this ripple effect, which makes your video look like it's on water, or maybe someone threw a stone at it. Let me see, reduce the wave width. Damn, it's very unstable when you try to mess around with it, but you can see it looks cool. Then the next effect we have is the ripple simple, which just gives you 3 simple ripples that disappear. Something like a little boy. Yeah, it looks nice. And you can play around with that setting yourself. And we also have the water effect, which just gives your video some nice movements and whatever. You can play around with a lot of stuff with this, and I'm not going to go into it too much. Then next we have the snow effect, which adds this snow to your video. I think you can increase the amount of snow. It adds the size, the intensity of the snow, the speed of the snow, the flicker of the snow. Basically, you can just get this pretty cool looking effect. Yeah. Then we also have the rainy effect. Now this rainy effect, God, I'm tired. This rainy effect has a lot of settings. You can play around with it basically to get this kind of rain looking effect in your video. And it even has custom flashes, which can happen at random times. Anywho, I'm not diving too much into this. Let's just go on to the next one, which is the raindrops. And this adds some drop on your screen. This is not bad. We have different settings you can play around with. As you can see, I made it look like it's glass because for some reason this Gaussian blur actually works better than the glass blur. As you can see, the glass blur doesn't look all that cool. I prefer the Gaussian. Anywho, next we have the frost effect. And I've never understood how this works, but this frost effect can give you some pretty cool looks and things. Look at this, kind of looks like Thanos a little bit. Oh yeah, about the Thanos disintegration effect, yes, it's in the works. That's the next video I'm going to upload, so you guys just hang in tight with that, okay? Anywho, next we have the fire effect. And this gives this little fire looking effect to your video, and yeah, it can be pretty cool and trippy. This is mostly for trippy stuff. Anywho, you can change the color and other settings, which I'm not diving into. And then we have the saber edge, and there's just one small thing I'm going to tell you about this saber edge. It's pretty useful. You can increase the distance, the thickness. There's a bunch of things you can do and a bunch of effects you can get. Yeah. As you see, I have this halo around me. It's just something you should play around with, really. Overlay. Pretty cool. I'll do a tutorial on something, a cool effect you can use that for later. But that's it for the nature panel. Now we move over to the RGB panel. Mostly this one's are for music videos, very trippy effects. We dig like all this type of effects. This is the RGB displacement. Basically, it just displaces all the video, all the colors in your video. Let's see hue. Okay, out of all of them, I'd say I prefer the luminance. It's the cleanest. Yeah, you can just use it, play around with this. Then we have the RGB blur, which blurs your video on the RGB channels. Separate. And if we reduce the blur radius, as you can see, it just creates multiple copies of me, which is cool. And then you can increase the blur. But yeah, pretty cool effect. Then we also have the RGB shift, which is the same thing with the RGB blur, except there's no blur option this time. Ooh, this is cool. Anywho, I don't have time for this. This is a very cool effect. I recommend you to play around with it, explore the settings, explore the asset store, find everything about it on your own. Just try. And then we have the RGB radio. Well, doesn't this look mesmerizing? Oh my god. Oh. Let's see if we can see spread. Well, this looks pretty cool. That's all I'm gonna say. Anywho, the next effect we have is the prism, which basically adds a lot of these prism looking effects. Oh my god. Yeah, this is cursed. So you can use this for whatever effect you might need. And then we have the Prism 2, which is an alternate option of the Prism 1, and I think it does the same. Okay, this one is more manual. Yeah, you can just do whatever you like with this, but yeah, it's there. So that's it for the RGB panel. Now we move on to the displacement panel. Oh, thank God, we're almost done. We have the displacement map effect, which for me to show will require me adding in an image. So I'm just going to do a bunch of stuff to it. Aha! As you can see, this video is on top of my face, but it doesn't look like it's on top of my face. Now, if we are to add the displacement map and set the source to video, my video, it's going to displace it according to my face and according to that video that we're talking about. I also have a bunch of settings that we can use for them. Maybe luminance, maybe saturation. Different settings work in different ways, as you can see. Makes it look like it's stuck to me. It's almost like a tracker, like a mesh tracker, except that it doesn't allow you to track it. But anywho, the next effect we're going to dive into now is the moissak. And moissak basically blurs your video in a pixelized manner. You can pixelize your video to very high levels. I mean, look at this. It's barely one stick. Anywho. Anywho, that will be it for the mosaic. We also have the hexagon, which does this cool stuff. There's a lot of settings with this. You can increase the scaling to be something you like. I mean, if we keep scaling it up and up and up, we'll eventually get a pretty cool looking video. Let's turn this to like 50. See? pretty cool. And then we can turn this to like 4. Wow, I kind of look like Minecraft voxels. What if I turn on the edge? Oh, nope. I said I'm not playing with any of these, but there's a lot of settings you can play with, so feel free to play around with these. Explore these tools. So we also have the glitch one, which adds these nice glitches to your video, and it's pretty straightforward. Then we have the glitch 2, which is more or less not so straightforward. You can have white noise, a bunch of other effects you can play with to make your video look cool. Maybe you want to do something like a hologram. It could work. It's cool. Then we also have the glitch 3, which is less complicated than glitch 2, but more complicated than glitch 1. And you have these let's reset this, pretty nice looking glitches, like maybe a game broken glitch. Yeah, it's there if you want to use it. Explore it. Then we have the Luma fade, which can it's almost like a chroma key, but like a Luma key. It's pretty cool. You can play around with this. Then we have the dissolve, one of my favorite effects. I used to play around with this a lot. You can play around with a lot of these settings, and they're just pretty cool to play around with. You can change the types, and it's just like disintegration. As I've said before, it always reminds me of the Thanos disintegration. It's pretty cool. Anywho, the next effect we have, oh, that's the last one. So now we're in the stylized panel, and this stylized panel has a lot of stuff. So first of all, we have the Reptile Expand left, and finish. Well, this is, let's see. As you can see, it creates all these there's a bunch of settings for this. You can play with this. Anywho, I'm out. The next effect we have is the motion tile. Yeah, this is pretty cool stuff for most of these like AMV edits and stuff. Some people like it. I don't really use it. I've never found myself really using it, but whatever. Next effect we have is the old film, which makes your video layer look like an old movie, basically, and it's pretty cool. Intensity, vignetting, black and white. Yeah, you can see it looks pretty cool. It's like a very nice overlay for it. Yeah. Now this is cool. Reminds me of an old movie. Then we also have the find edges effect, which finds all the edges on your video. God damn it, it makes me look ugly. It's almost like it's pretty cool. Then we have the emboss effect. Emboss makes you look like you're stone or something like that, because every time I see this I get stone vibes, so I don't know what to tell you. The emboss is pretty cool. Makes it look like light is coming at different angles, giving you this kind of 3D look, and it's always pretty cool to see it. Then we have the vignette, and everybody knows what the vignette does. It adds this these lines at the edge like this. Pretty cool, but I can delete this now. Then we have the invert, which inverts all the colors on my video. You have a bunch of settings to play around with. You have the alpha, the hue, green, blue, RGB. It's pretty cool. Then we also have the sketch tool, the sketch effect. And this sketch effect basically makes it look like you're sketched. And it's cool. let's see. There's a bunch of stuff with this, and it's pretty cool to see. Kind of reminds me of that music video, Take On Me. Yeah, it's cool. Anywho, next we have the manga. Apparently, it makes your video look like a manga. I really don't see the manganese, but whatever. It's cool. If you want it, it's there. And there's the tune effect, which I actually kind of like. It makes your video look like a tune, in a way. And there's a bunch of settings for it too. You can make it have more faces. You can make it just like two colors, black and white, or maybe you add more of these details in it. Yeah. Then you have the outline. You can play around with the outline and the brightness of it all. It's pretty cool. Then the next effect we have here is the film cutting. And yeah, it kind of looks like the old film, except, you know, this kind of playing on camera movement. I don't know what they call it, but it's kind of nice and it's kind of cool. Then this film cutting black and white, and it's cool too. You can play around the speed and different things. And then we also have the fill color, which just fills the color of your video. You can change the type of color it is. Like if you change it to multiply, it's going to make your video you know, be like this, and this kind of very trippy effects that you can get with this. Anywho, that'll be all, I think, for this panel. Then we have the ray tracing panel, which is the last but not the least. This one is called the glass sphere. It has a 3D camera. You can rotate it. I really don't see a use for this too much, but it's there and it's pretty cool. And yeah, you can use it for a bunch of stuff too, actually, even though I've never used it yet. But I'm pretty sure there's something we can do with it. As we go along, we'll probably find it. There's the glass cube. There is the crystal sphere. Most of these I'm not even going to go into too much because I already know what's up. Then there's the diamond effect. Whoa, this diamond looks nice. Oh, this is cool. Maybe this could be used for something like an AMV. Actually, I kind of like this glow. It's kind of cool. Yeah. Yeah, this effect is cool. Anywho, that would be it. I think we've reached the end of this tutorial. Finally, I don't know how long this video is, but I'm so thankful for all of you, the 1% that stayed to the end of the video. God bless, and subscribe, because we're going to be doing this a lot. We're going to be going through, diving into all the basic uses. It's because this is just such a big video that I had to rush things. So basically all I have to tell you is you have to practice these things, like go home. You're already at home, fuck. Go home, or when you're on your own, practice all the NodeVideo tools, play around with them, get familiar with them, rub your feet in the dirt, get your feet wet, like just play around, whatever analogy you want to use, that's cool. And thank you so much for watching. It's been Presto the Editor, and I'll see you guys in the next one.